In the quiet wisdom of Stoic philosophy, true power does not lie in resisting the world, but in understanding exactly what we can truly control within ourselves. Like a steady stream of water, strength is found in being flexible enough to flow around obstacles, yet persistent enough to eventually wear down the hardest stone. Consider the path you choose today. Will you be the mighty oak that stands tall and rigid, or the humble bamboo that knows when to bow down? The choice between rigidity and flexibility determines not just how we live, but how we survive the storms that life inevitably sends toward our fragile souls. Your mind is like this steady flame. It does not fight the wind with force. It simply remains centered, refusing to be extinguished by external chaos. To be soft is not to be weak. It is a calculated form of resilience that allows the spirit to endure where hardness would surely crumble and fail. True endurance is found in the ability to adapt. When the world pushes against you, the wisest response is often to yield and find a new way. Every great trial we face is an opportunity to practice this internal softness, turning our obstacles into the very fuel that keeps our inner fire burning bright. We often mistake stubbornness for strength, but in the grand design of nature, it is the rigid tree that breaks while the flexible blade of grass survives. Let us journey to the high peaks, where the wind speaks in whispers of survival, and witness the battle between the massive oak and the slender bamboo. Here, on the edge of the world, the definitions of power and vulnerability are about to be rewritten by the hand of a coming, relentless winter storm. On this frozen summit, a massive ancient tree stands with gnarled branches, its thick bark a testament to centuries of defying the elements with sheer force. The great tree prides itself on its massive stature, believing that its refusal to move or bend is the ultimate sign of a superior, unbreakable character. It has stood for generations, mocking the wind and the snow, standing as a monument to permanence in a world that is constantly changing and shifting. Beside this giant, a humble grove of bamboo grows, looking fragile and insignificant compared to the overwhelming presence of the oak's thick, unmoving wooden trunk. The bamboo does not seek to dominate the sky or challenge the clouds. It simply exists, rooted deeply in the cracks of the cold, hard mountain stone. While the oak trusts in its weight, the bamboo trusts in its grip and its ability to dance with the wind rather than fighting its invisible power. A lone crow arrives, a silent witness to the tension in the air. It senses the coming change, the shift in the wind that signals a storm. Nature has its way of testing the foundations of all living things. The crow knows that the time for boasting of strength is quickly coming to an end. The oak groans, its rigid structure under immense pressure. It refuses to yield even an inch, meeting the force of the gale with a stubborn, heavy resistance. In contrast, the bamboo begins its rhythmic dance. It offers no resistance, allowing the wind to pass through its leaves as it bows low toward the ground. The sky turns a bruised purple as the storm breaks. This is no ordinary winter wind. It is a test of essence, a trial of true resilience. On this stage, the definitions of strength and weakness will be inverted. The mighty will find their limits, and the flexible will find their hidden power. The crow seeks shelter, knowing that standing tall in the path of destruction is a fool's errand when the very heavens are screaming in cold rage. The oak's pride is its greatest vulnerability. By refusing to adapt to the storm's intensity, it invites the full weight of the disaster upon its frozen branches. The bamboo remains calm in its movement. It understands that by giving way, it preserves its core. This is the first lesson of the mountain's cold trial. Deep within a sheltered rocky alcove, a rare miracle remains a wild banana tree, laden with fruit, surviving in the heart of this frozen, white wasteland. For the hungry inhabitants of this mountain, these fruits are more than food. They are the key to survival during the longest and most brutal nights. The crow finds the treasure first. But the wind in the alcove is treacherous, swirling in patterns that make it impossible for a bird to land safely. Individually, the crow is fast but light, unable to ground itself against the erratic mountain gusts that protect the fruit like an invisible swirling shield. From the shadows, the turtle approaches. It is slow, grounded, and heavy, unaffected by the wind but lacking the reach to touch the hanging fruit above. Softness is not just a physical trait. It is a mental flexibility. It is the ability to recognize that cooperation is more powerful than any solitary effort. The crow understands. It realizes that the turtle's strength is exactly what it lacks, and its own agility is what the turtle could never hope to possess. The turtle offers its back. It does not compete for the first bite. It simply provides the foundation, becoming the solid ground in a world of wind. By being soft in its ego, the crow accepts help. By being soft in its purpose, the turtle assists another. Together, they bridge the gap to survival. They share the reward equally. In a world of predators and competition, this moment of mutual support is the highest form of intelligent, adaptive living. While the rigid tree stands alone in its defiance, these two creatures find strength in their connection, proving that flexibility in relationships leads to abundance. Collaboration is the ultimate expression of the flexible mind. It turns a situation of certain scarcity into a moment of shared, life-saving triumph for all involved. Their alliance is a shield against the cold. They have learned that to survive the mountain, one must be willing to bend their pride and collaborate. The storm is a teacher, and its lesson is clear. Those who cannot cooperate will be left to face the freezing darkness with nothing but their pride. Even in their rest, they are flexible. They change their posture to meet the cold, refusing to stand stiffly against a force that they cannot overcome. But the mountain is never finished testing its guests. A new threat is emerging from the blizzard, one that requires more than just simple cooperation to survive. Beyond the wind, a heavy shadow moves. It is a presence of raw power and hunger, an ancient force that does not know the meaning of mercy. The ground trembles beneath them. This is not the wind, nor the falling snow. It is the steady, heavy footfall of a predator searching for a meal. The bear is a titan of the mountain, driven by a desperate winter hunger. Its eyes lock onto the two small creatures huddled in the rocky crevice. Confrontation seems inevitable, but against such overwhelming force, a direct struggle would be nothing more than a quick and certain path to a tragic end. In this moment, survival depends on a different kind of strength, the intelligence to avoid the blow rather than trying to absorb its crushing, lethal weight. The crow becomes a master of distraction. It uses its agility to dance around the bear's head, a flicker of black against the white, taunting the giant. The bear's anger grows, but its size is now its weakness. It cannot catch the small, nimble bird that moves like a leaf in the gale's breath. The turtle employs the ultimate form of passive resistance. It does not fight, it simply becomes inaccessible, withdrawing its life into an unbreakable, stone-like core. The bear finds no purchase. The turtle's strategy is a masterclass in the power of soft survival, knowing exactly when to hide and wait for the storm. Power without precision is wasted energy. The bear is exhausted by its own fury, while its targets remain calm, centered, and entirely out of its reach. This is the mood tree, the strategic softness of the intellect. It is the wisdom to know that some battles are won by simply refusing to participate. Even the strongest predator eventually yields to the frustration of a target that will not break. The bear retreats, leaving the two small victors in peace. Safe once more, they have proven that being small and flexible is far superior to being large and rigid when faced with an unstoppable, hungry force. They did not defeat the bear with claws or teeth, but with the profound understanding of their own nature and the patience to wait for time. But now, the ultimate test arrives. The sky screams as the core of the blizzard strikes the summit with the force of 1,000 falling hammers. The great oak stands in the center of the fury. It is a battle of wills now, the tree's ancient pride versus the sky's infinite freezing kinetic rage. Every inch of its massive frame is a sail catching the wind. Because it will not bend, it must absorb every ounce of the storm's destructive energy. The bamboo is no longer standing. It has yielded completely, lying flat against the earth, letting the hurricane pass harmlessly over its thin, flexible green stalks. It does not fight the storm's direction, it adopts it. By becoming one with the wind's path, the bamboo avoids the friction that leads to total destruction. The oak's very foundation is failing. Its depth of root is no longer enough to compensate for the massive leverage of its unyielding and heavy upper canopy. It is a tragic sight, a giant that spent centuries growing strong, only to find that its brand of strength is its own death sentence in this storm. The breaking point is near. In the economy of nature, that which cannot kong, that which cannot bend, is destined to be broken by the inevitable change. Strength is often mistaken for rigidity, but real strength is the ability to maintain one's essence while the form changes to meet the needs of survival. With a final, heart-wrenching sound, the giant falls. It crashes into the snow, a broken monument to the failure of an unyielding and arrogant heart. Silence follows the crash. Even within the roar of the wind, the landscape has changed forever, the old order having been swept away by the storm. The oak is gone, its legacy ended by its own refusal to bow. It stood until it could stand no more, and then it simply ceased to be. But look closely at the ground. The bamboo remains. It is hidden, humble, and completely intact, waiting for the fury of the heavens to eventually pass. The storm is exhausted. Like all things that rely on fury and force, it eventually spends its energy and fades into the quiet of the morning. The darkness is lifting. A new day begins on the mountain, revealing the aftermath of a night that tested the very soul of every living thing here. The sun reveals the truth of the night's battle. What was once tall is now low, and what was low is about to rise again. One by one, the bamboo stalks stand tall once more. They are not broken. They are not even scarred. They simply return to their natural state. The bamboo did not win by being stronger than the storm. It won by not fighting the storm at all. It allowed the chaos to flow through it. The crow returns, finding a new perch on the flexible green wood. It has learned that the best place to be is where the spirit can bend. The turtle joins them, its shell intact, its spirit undimmed. It carries the wisdom of the earth, the knowledge that patience is the ultimate form of power. Even the bear has found its peace. In the aftermath of the storm, all creatures realize their shared vulnerability and the need for a softer, more adaptive way. This is the dawn of understanding. The mountain has taught its lesson well, etched into the broken wood and the rising green of the new day. Rigidity is the companion of death. Flexibility is the sign of life. To live is to be soft and capable of change at every single moment. True resilience is built not from iron, but from the ability to keep your heart open and your mind flexible, even when the world is screaming. We all face storms. The question is never whether the wind will blow, but how we will choose to respond when it finally reaches our doorstep. Be like the water. Be like the bamboo. Find the path of least resistance that leads to the greatest endurance and the most profound lasting peace. Listen to the whisper of the bamboo. It tells of a power that does not need to shout, a strength that does not need to dominate. When you choose softness, you open the door to partnership. When you choose to bend, you find that you are never truly alone in your struggle. The mountain remains, a silent teacher of the ages. It has seen countless oaks fall and countless bamboos rise, a cycle as old as time itself. Renewal is the reward of the flexible. Because they do not break, they can use the energy of the storm to grow even stronger and more vibrant. The flame of your mind is your greatest treasure. Protect it by being soft, by being wise, and by knowing when to let the world pass. Training the mind is not about building walls of iron. It is about learning to become the bamboo, rooted in truth but flexible in action. Study the wisdom of the past to navigate the storms of the future. The secrets of survival have been written in the stars and the trees. When you stop fighting against the flow of life, you finally find the inner strength required to transcend every personal limit and every external fear. Every storm is an invitation to practice this grace. Every challenge is a chance to prove that your spirit is more than just rigid wood. Simplicity and flexibility are the true hallmarks of a powerful life. They allow us to move through the world with ease, regardless of the weather. The sky is clear now. The lessons have been learned. The path forward is open to all those who are willing to bow and then rise. True victory is not over others, but over the parts of ourselves that refuse to change. Yield to the truth, and you will become truly invincible. Stand firm in your roots, but let your heart be as flexible as the bamboo. This is the secret to a life that can never be broken. May your internal flame always find the center. May you find the courage to be soft in a world that often demands you to be hard. Remember the mountain, remember the storm, and most importantly, remember the bamboo that stood tall, by knowing exactly when it was time to bow. Bow low so that you may rise even higher after the storm has passed. True strength is always found in the softest parts of the heart.